Welcome to another deep dive. This time you've sent us a YouTube video, and wow, the visuals are something else. Starry nights, this really contemplative tone, it really sets the stage for, well, exploring ancient Hindu cosmology, right?
It is amazing what visuals can do,
Yeah.
how they can really pull you in. I mean, they create a link between this ancient wisdom and how we think today.
Yeah, totally. So today we're going to dive into how the Rigveda explains the universe's creation, what makes it unique, what kind of insights can we take away from it. Okay, so let's unpack this.
So the Rigveda, right off the bat, it grabs your attention with this idea of before creation. It says before creation there was nothing, not even sky, not even air, like not even time, just an abyss of just pure darkness.
Wow, that's pretty powerful image. It really makes you rethink how we normally picture the beginning, the beginning of everything.
Exactly. Yeah. It challenges us to rethink, like, what even is the starting point, right? I mean, this idea of the state of the universe before the Big Bang. I mean, it's still a huge mystery, right? Even in modern science. Physics, it explores different possibilities, like a singularity or quantum fluctuations. But the Rigveda, it really emphasizes this absolute void.
Yeah.
And it's a big contrast.
It is, yeah. This idea of nothingness is so intriguing. So how does creation emerge from this void, according to the Rigveda?
Well, the Rigveda, it introduces this concept of unmanifest matter, which is often compared to water, not the water that we know, obviously, but like a primordial state of pure potential, like potential energy just waiting to be unleashed.
Oh, that's a great way to picture it. I've always thought it was fascinating how water symbolizes creation in so many myths, across different cultures.
Yeah, right. It represents like formlessness, that raw material from which everything else comes from. Think of it like, clay that a potter uses.
Yeah.
It can become any shape.
So, okay, we have this primordial water, this potential, but what happens next? How does this unmanifest matter actually become the universe?
Okay, well, this is where things get really, really interesting. So the Rigveda says that from this void, a desire arises.
Right.
Or a thought, but not the thought of a conscious God like you might expect. No. It describes like this fundamental impulse towards existence itself.
Wow. So this desire being the catalyst for creation, that is, I mean, that's such a mind-boggling concept. So how does the Rigveda set this apart from the traditional idea of a deity, like a god willing the universe into being?
It is fascinating, right? Because it suggests that this desire isn't, a personal intention or even the will of God.
Yeah.
But more like an inherent property of existence, like being itself. It's like the Rigveda is saying that the very nature of reality is, to be.
It is a profound idea. But how does this desire actually lead to the structured universe, like the one we see?
So the Rigveda describes it as like a burst of energy coming from this desire, like almost like powerful sound waves, or vibrations. And these waves, they interact with the primordial matter, and that sets creation in motion.
Oh, I see a parallel here with modern physics, like the Big Bang Theory. Could this burst of energy be like a poetic way of describing that initial expansion, like the echo we see in the cosmic microwave background radiation?
It's a really interesting parallel, and it begs the question, how could the Rigveda, which was composed thousands of years ago, how could it seem to understand, these fundamental truths about how the universe began? I mean, it's incredible, really.
It really is. It really seems like the Rigveda is talking about something both ancient and incredibly relevant to today. But if this desire is the driving force, where did it come from? Does the Rigveda give any insight into the ultimate source?
Well, that's where the Rigveda says, look, even the wisest minds can't fully grasp this mystery, the mystery of creation. It's really a very humbling part of this ancient text.
So it's not about, having all the answers. It's about recognizing, the vastness of what we just don't know.
Right. And that idea is still relevant, even today.
Right.
We've made incredible progress in science and technology, and yet there are still basic questions about the universe that we just don't have answers to. Even with all our modern tools, we're still struggling with these ultimate mysteries.
It's true. The more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know. Huh. It's humbling, but I'm curious. If the Rigveda doesn't, give a definite answer, what does it offer? What's the point?
So instead of giving, a clear-cut answer, the Rigveda gives us like a framework. a framework for understanding our place in the grand scheme of, the cosmos. It encourages us to not just, think about these big questions, these mysteries, but also to seek knowledge within.
Seeking knowledge within. What does that mean? I mean, how can looking inward help us understand something as vast as the universe?
Well, and that's where the video brings in a really interesting point, because it ends by suggesting that we can connect with the universe through silence and observation.
That's interesting. So it's not just about like intellectual understanding, but a more, I don't know, experiential way of knowing, almost like meditation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Rigveda seems to be saying that the universe isn't, just something out there separate from us, but something we are deeply connected to.
Yeah.
And by quieting our minds and really observing, the world around us, we can tap into a deeper understanding of ourselves and the cosmos.
It makes sense. Like tuning into a frequency we don't normally pay attention to. But how does this inner exploration, how does that connect to the big picture of creation as described in the Rigveda?
Well, that is where things get really interesting, and I think that's something we should dive into after we come back.
I completely agree. I mean, we've covered so much, from creation coming from, nothingness, to this desire being the driving force, and even touched on the limitations of what we can know. It's amazing how much insight we can get from a text that's, millennia old.
And we're just getting started. The Rigveda has so much wisdom to offer. There's so much more to uncover.
I'm excited to dive back in after the break. We'll be right back to continue exploring, the Rigveda's secrets.
Welcome back. This is a really fascinating discussion, about how the Rigveda looks at creation.
It is. And before we went to break, that concept of seeking knowledge within, it stayed with me. It's like the Rigveda saying, hey, the big answers aren't just, out there in the universe. They're inside you too.
It's true. And it ties into this other point in the video.
Yeah.
About silence and observation. The narrator, he suggests that, by quieting our minds and really observing the world around us, we can find profound insights.
You know what? I get that. Sometimes I find, when I take the time to just be, to truly observe nature or even just simple things in my day, I start to see patterns, connections I didn't notice before. It's like my mind is more open.
Exactly. It's about cultivating that sense of awe, letting ourselves be humbled by the vastness, the mystery of it all. And then in that state, of humility, we become more open to knowledge, to wisdom, both inside and outside.
Right. The video also talks about the limits of language. When it comes to describing creation, the narrator, he says something like, we're trying to talk about things that we can never truly know. It makes you think, Can words really capture, I don't know, the essence of something like the creation of the universe?
Yeah, the Rigveda, it acknowledges that, even poetic language, it has limits.
Right.
It can only go so far in describing like the ultimate reality. It's like trying to explain the taste of a strawberry to someone who's never tasted one, right? You can use words, but they can't fully capture it.
I like that. So it's not about taking the verses, literally, or creating like a strict set of beliefs. It's more about using them as like a starting point for personal exploration, wouldn't you say?
Exactly. Yeah, it encourages this interplay between, thinking and intuition, between searching for knowledge out there and cultivating wisdom, within. Yeah. It wants us to go beyond words, to experience the universe directly through contemplation, observation.
So if we think about our listener, what are some key takeaways, some key insights from this deep dive into the Rigveda's creation story? What makes it relevant today after all these years?
Well, there's so much to unpack here. First, it pushes us to think outside our usual assumptions about time, about space, about what reality is. Yeah. The Rigveda, it offers this vision of a universe that's not static. It's always evolving, always becoming. It reminds us that everything we see, it all came from a state of pure potential, from that primordial, unmanifest matter.
And it wants us to embrace the mystery, right? To question, to be curious. It doesn't shy away from the big questions like where did it all come from, or what was there before? But it also acknowledges that some answers, they might be beyond what we can understand right now. And that's a humbling thought.
It is, yeah. And that humility, it's key to staying open to new knowledge, new ways of looking at things. It's about approaching the universe with both curiosity and a sense of awe.
It's also empowering. The Rigveda, it says that inner exploration, it's important, just as important as searching for knowledge outside of ourselves. It's like it's saying, we have a role to play in understanding the universe, that the answers, they're not just out there, but also in here within us.
That's beautifully put. And that interconnectedness, that link between the inner and the outer world. It's a thread that runs through so many, spiritual traditions, including the wisdom of the Rigveda.
This deep dive has been incredible. It's amazing how much we can learn from a text that's thousands of years old. I mean, what other wisdom is out there, hidden in these ancient texts, just waiting to be rediscovered and reinterpreted for today's world.
It really makes you appreciate how powerful these ancient stories are, how much they can still speak to us today. But I think we've only just scratched the surface of the Rigveda's creation story. What about this idea of desire as a driving force? I wanted to explore that a bit more. What exactly is this desire, in the Rigveda?
Yeah, we haven't really gotten into that yet, have we? Is it like a conscious intention, like something that actively willed the universe to be, or is it something more fundamental, more like an inherent part of existence itself? What do you think? This whole idea of desire being like this engine behind creation, it's shifted how I think about, how the universe began. It's so different from like the idea of a conscious creator,
It really is, and it makes you ask, what is this desire in the Rigveda? I mean, is it a specific intention, or is it something deeper?
Right. Like is it some kind of cosmic will, that kind of kickstarted everything, or is it more like just built into existence itself? The Rigveda, it doesn't really, spell it out, does it?
And that's what I find so interesting about it. It doesn't give you, a rigid doctrine. It's more like an invitation, to think about it, to explore these ideas yourself.
So it's more about asking the right questions than giving you the answers, right? Like it's saying, here are some ideas, now go figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. And if we go back to the video, the narrator, he really stresses that understanding this desire, it means changing how we see things. He talks about, going beyond how we usually think about cause and effect, about how we think things should be, and embracing a bigger view of reality.
That's a good point. It's like we have to expand our minds to really get what the Rigveda is saying about creation.
Yeah, exactly. And it reminds us that the answers we want about the universe, they might not just be out there. They might also be, here. It comes back to that idea of inner exploration.
Like the universe is like a mirror, to our own inner selves. And by exploring ourselves, we can understand the cosmos better. And maybe the other way around too, right? Like by thinking about the vastness of the universe, we can learn about ourselves.
That's beautifully put. It really shows this interconnectedness, of everything. The Rigveda's creation story, it's not just about where the cosmos came from. It's also about us, about our place in it, our relationship to the universe, to that source of creation.
Oh, this deep dive it's been amazing. We've explored so much from nothingness and the role of desire to the limits of language and how important inner exploration is. It's incredible how much wisdom there is in this ancient text.
I know. The Rigveda, it gives us this understanding of the universe. It's so deep and so poetic. And it's amazing how it still speaks to us today. Even though it was written, thousands of years ago, it talks about these timeless truths, about existence, about searching for meaning, about our connection to something bigger than ourselves.
So as we wrap up this exploration of the Rigveda's creation story, what's the one thing you hope our listener takes away from this?
I think the most important thing is this invitation to explore the universe, but also to explore within, to question, to contemplate, to experience the mystery of existence, firsthand.
And to keep asking the big questions, right? The Rigveda, it reminds us that understanding, it's a journey. It never really ends. There's always more to discover, to learn, to experience.
So well said. And who knows, maybe this deep dive will, spark something in our listener.
Yeah.
A desire to learn more about the Rigveda and see what speaks to them.
That would be fantastic. It's been great exploring these ideas with you. And until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.